Fingers out, stop counting.
Hello and welcome to Pardon the Interception, Season 33, Week 8, with your hosts, Lee Wood.
Nick Taylor.
Simon Wood.
Okay, so what has been going on around the leagues this week? Let's take a look. So, as ever, we'll start off with the GFL. And first thing that jumps out to me here is I think as a larger number of closer games this week, and the Hulk managed to keep it below 75 points, which is always good. And also the Beach Breakers managed to get their score into double digits. Simon, what else jumps out at you here?
The big thing for me was Shane against the man with no name. So the Quake against the Steelers. That was, a battle of the we haven't lost yet. And the Quake took the Steelers to the cleaners.
And they did it on the road as well.
We should all fear the Quake.
Steelers be quaking in their boots now.
That was the biggest thing for me.
Okay. So if you
had Raiders Gunslingers as well. Would be the other thing. But that wasn't quite as exciting.
They're not quite so. And did the evil one manage to win? I suppose they did.
Which evil one?
The original one, the Rin Wraith. Yeah, they beat up on the Armadillos. But what we can see here is the Quake pushing for the number one seed. Not locked up their division yet, though. But it looks like it's going to be pretty much given.
If the Hawks beat them.
Point difference.
Really, the Hawks beat them by 10. That's equal points, right?
True. Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, this actually isn't as big a difference as I thought it was. It's only a 32-point difference. Got Wildcats and Bulls pushing up here still. Steelers looking pretty good. That's got to be more or less a clinch of the division. It takes a lot to drop there from there. Like Black Knights are 8-0, Rin Wraiths. So let's have a look. So the Raiders Armadillos. Did they play this week? No, the Armadillos played the Wraiths.
Yeah, tough break for them.
Yeah, that's not a good season ender, is it there at all?
A lot of teams are 2 wins away. So if we're looking at the AFC, we've got the top teams are all two wins ahead.
Yeah.
And then you've got the Dragons and the Gunslingers, who are a game ahead of the Armadillos, which puts them in a pretty good position for the 2 wildcard spots. And then
because it drops off to 5 and 3 for the Armadillos for the AFC.
Yeah, similar in the NFC. You got Rockets, Steelers, Quake, Hawks are pretty much there, and then Wildcats, Calgary, one of those will clinch a division, and one of them's in the driving seat for the other wildcard slot. I mean, the Firebirds are the other team that can get there. But
yeah, the thing is, they're so many points behind on the differential, though.
Yeah, it depends whether Wildcats have. Do Wildcats have to play the Bulls?
Let's have a look. Yes, this week, in fact, and then the
Firebirds
and the Firebirds. Yeah,
that's pretty exciting. So 2 big games there. It's only a big game this week. Winner takes it pretty much.
Seems that way.
And yeah, the playoff pitch is pretty much as we expected. And then doing the customary look back at the predictions. So Nick, your Black Knight Bulls still looking like it's potential there.
Yeah. When the Bulls beat the Wildcats this week, it'll be sorted.
I went with the Black Knight Quake, so I went with the boring. Let's choose the 2 undefeated teams.
So boring.
And Simon went with the second seeds at the minute. You went with the Wraiths, at the team with no coach.
I think,
no name.
Yeah, I think next week's gonna see a lot of this locked up, isn't it? Looking at the current standings.
Next week, the key game is the Wind Waves against the Hulk. Can they break 100?
Can they beat the record, which is 112 points scored?
Mm.
I think the answer is yes.
Up the wind waves.
Be an interesting one.
Mm.
I mean, they only beat them 82-0 at home, but I think they're going to be thirsty to try and pad that points differential.
I'm going to say the Hulk get 3 points next week.
You
Up
think the
Hulk.
Hulk are going to score their first points of the season? I think it's their first.
Yeah.
Would be that. Yeah,
It would be.
Well, I want to finish Wraiths and then Black Knights to get 1 point on the board. You
I
could do it the hard way.
the fact that Gary's used the key game here.
It is a key game. If they don't score this week, it's a key game because they need a point in that last game.
Get that first win incentive.
There's 4 teams going after that are all 0 and 8.
That's interesting. That's a race and a half.
Hmm. Not sure any of them are actually going to manage it, but
Yeah, the rebuilds look in full force in this league, don't they?
Mm.
And I guess the circle could do it. Got reasonable stats. I don't know what their fixtures are like, but
got the Firebirds followed by the Bulls. So
outside chance of beating the Firebirds, I guess. But it's
Yeah.
gonna be tough.
yeah, is it the Witchcraft? The Witchcraft probably had the best chance, I think. They got the Empress followed by the Goats.
Okay, that's reasonable record wise.
Yeah. Aaron Sanford has the Dreadnoughts and the Pistols.
I still think the Hulk are going to do it. Wraiths and Black Knights, easy game.
Easy schedule.
Combined record of 15-1.
The question, it's going to be an interesting one because assuming the Black Knights win this week, the Wraiths likely win. Yeah, because they're going to have the the Black Knights are going to have to play against the Hulk, I think, because I don't think they'll be able to afford to. Even though they're a game ahead, the points differential they're losing on.
What you're forgetting is, what if the Hulk beat the Wraiths this week?
If the Hulk beat the Wraiths this week, I think there will be a steward's inquiry.
Or next week, should I say?
The hell team. No. I just mean what the hell team has Gary been putting out the rest of the season that he's suddenly got a team that can beat the Wraiths.
So if Bob breaks on the GFL, we know what's happened, right?
Yeah, Gary's turned up.
I'll do my Gary Lineker impression if the Hulk beat the Wraiths. I'll present pardon
In your pants.
In my pants.
Fair enough. It means we won't be able to live stream on Twitch though. Right, anything else on the GFL before we move on?
No, go to the A. Go to the A.
Look at the A. So standings and then check the scores. So Nick, what jumps out in the A this week?
Well, the main thing I know is that the Magpies lost and I won, and therefore big game next week. However, if we're not going to talk about myself, then Avalanche lost by 1 point. That's pretty big. Spitfires shout out the Sonics, which is huge. And the big news, the score does say 31-28 to the Sharks. However, the Sharks' injury record now looks rough.
Let's see how rough it looks. Where are they?
Pretty certain Clay's Jeter's team up with the Ashes going so well for Australia, who got really excited, got the team G'd up.
Oh, injury crisis.
And yeah, that's what happened.
Bam!
So this week they picked up a D, an F, an E, an E, and a C.
It couldn't have happened to a nicer coach.
Do they not realise that this isn't Scrabble?
All I can say is TikTok.
He's a big TikTok fan. Just scrolls through random videos.
Yeah, they're in a world of pain right now, the Sharks. Fortunately, they're pretty locked up, but and if they can keep one of those top 2 seeds, the team might recover enough for the playoffs.
Who are they
Um,
playing this week? Oh, the
Yeah.
Avalanche.
Followed by the Heroes.
Hopefully, it's not another avalanche of injuries because
Hey.
that would be a real problem.
Does that?
He's quite lucky because I lost this week. The game
2
against
games
us isn't
ahead.
as important as it could have been.
Yeah,
Because
I mean,
if he loses 2 and I win 2, he still takes our division.
Does he?
Yeah,
don't
division.
know.
Oh,
Don't know.
No,
It'll be
because
4
if
and
he
1,
loses
right?
to you, it'll go 4-1.
okay, maybe.
And I
Who's
don't-
your last game of the season?
Stallions.
Okay, that's winnable as well.
Oh, it's doable, especially with all those injuries I used to. But
So
Should be
potentially you can win out for the division.
I'm going to Benson's for beds.
Yeah, but in general, Kevin's got a little bit of a buffer there to potentially keep him in those top 2 spots. I think we've got to say the Stingrays are
But I think
number
that
1 seed
points
now.
differential disappears with the injuries.
Yeah, I mean, we don't know what else Kevin's got. I mean, they've got the Heroes in the last game as well, which is not easy, but might have enough to scrape something out of that game. Keep it
Possible.
close.
Depends, because he's got this dilemma of do I play some of the starters that are slightly injured or do I try and get some healing on them? Kevin's got some interesting decisions.
Yeah, big decisions as well.
Would it be better for him to drop into a wildcard slot and get some healing? I don't know.
I don't.
Your team's good enough.
I think you've got to. I think he just has to hope for the best and end up in the top 2, one of those top 2 spots. Maybe he has to.
It's locked up.
You can risk a B or something next week rather than this week as well.
There is an option to take basically 2 bye weeks as week 9 and week 10.
That's what I was thinking. That's a possibility, right? Just be like, don't care about these games.
Well, you don't have to do anything this week and then see how recovery goes. You can stick some Bs in for the last week to get that like bonus week sort of thing. It'd be interesting to watch, but yeah, that's either way. It's pretty rough on the Sharks.
Without those injuries, he was probably going 10-0.
Yeah.
Who knows?
The interesting thing I see here is nobody's clinched their division yet.
Yeah, still. Well, I say still wide open. The CFC West is actually wide open because of the injuries. I think Stingrays are pretty locked.
I mean, CFC East, CFC North, CFC West.
Yeah,
they're all open. The CFC South, I think, is the only one that I'm happy to call definitely.
I think, yeah, in the CFC side of things, I think the MFC West is probably pretty locked.
MFC West is pretty locked, yeah.
I reckon the Warriors are going to win out. Show the Stingrays how it's done.
I mean, it's possible.
The Stingrays have a bye week in week 10, so that tends to help.
Yeah. I mean, the other side of the injury thing with the Sharks is the Stingrays get to get one more win and take it easy for the last week. So pretty big for the Stingrays in their playoff push. And on the MFC side of things, it's the Rapiers Spartans who's going to take it over there in the MFC South. As I say, Spitfire's win over the Sonics was pretty huge. I think it really shows it's probably between those 3 teams. Maybe the Bears can get in there. They've got the firepower to put points on the board, but I think they've lost to one of the Spartans or Rapiers, I think, if I remember correctly.
Got the Spitfires in week 10 as well.
They lost to the Sonics and the Spartans.
Yeah, so they lost to the Spartans. Although they put 36 points on the board, so that's 12
Question
points.
is, who do these end out? Who do they end up with? So they're playing each other this week.
That's the big one.
And the Sonics.
Yeah, I mean the Spartans have slightly tougher one with the Sonics at the end there, but I think we're probably looking at whoever wins that game to be number 1 seed.
Yeah, playoff pictures looking pretty much as Pretty much as expected. I mean, Nick, you chose the Stingrays at the Rapiers. Not looking terrible.
Mhm.
I chose the Avalanche at the Rapiers. I'm not out yet. And Simon, you chose the Stingrays at the Spitfires for some reason.
Because I know what I'm doing, mate.
If you know what you're doing, then I'm obviously got the correct pick for the CFC.
I know what I'm doing when predicting other people winning.
Okay.
I mean, the CFC is pretty interesting there because it's kind of locked by like the Stallions, Magpies, the CFC. Is it North and East?
Mhm.
Who are the Stallions play the Generals or Heroes this week?
Heroes.
So that's a big game to start moving that one over. I mean, if the Heroes can get something out of that game, you do expect the Generals to beat the Barbarians, and then that division suddenly is wide open.
It's a bit of a weird season where like the two top seeds are probably locked and the two wildcards are locked, and then there's two divisional winners.
Yeah, it's very strange, right?
Normally, it's like you're waiting for the two wildcards and people are fighting out for them.
Yeah, because if you look at the playoff picture for the CFC, it just looks like if you looked at like record at the 6th place, you'd go, well, 2 games difference, top 6 are locked. And then you go, oh, one's on 4 and 4, one's on 5 and 3, getting chased by 4 and 4 and 4 and 4. Yeah, so pretty.
And also, what you've actually got is you, Nick, not even on this list.
And you can just jump in out of nowhere.
Well, that's just
out of nowhere.
And you can win your division still.
Yeah, the old classic 5 and 5 win the division.
Around the autumn.
I mean, it's not that outside the realm of possibility.
Well, yeah, as I say, our division, we play next game week, and whoever wins that game will win the division, right? Because of their record would just be better in division.
Yeah, divisional record will win it. Yeah, even if
And
you
then-
get absolutely stomped by the Stingrays.
Yeah, and whoever loses is just out completely. So all or nothing next match.
Last game of the season, can't leave anything behind.
The CFC North is interesting. Like, so the Heroes beat the Swamp Stallions.
That's just it. Yeah, that one could just get blown wide open.
And you've got like lots of people. I guess the Generals, if they beat the Barbarians, we probably will. But it's the Generals and stuff.
Yeah, and then it comes
4 and
down.
1.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if the Heroes beat the Stallions, divisional record makes it a lot easier for the Generals to then take it.
Yeah, I mean that's the big thing because the points difference doesn't matter. Because if the points difference did matter at that point, then they've got a problem.
It's all quite mad. All possibilities are possible.
Yeah. So
3
yeah,
teams in the division. It's great.
interesting stuff. Especially kind of got quite interesting. It's funny because the early part of the season, the South and the West looked really interesting because everyone was winning. But now actually it's like spread out and they're close to locked as to who's going where, bar maybe wildcard / first place. But the top 2 divisions have just got like really interesting towards the end of the season because all the teams have just been average-ish. So yeah.
Anything else for the A before we move on?
No. Let's go to the big sky.
Let's go to the Rivets.
Riveting stuff.
So
The
Simon's
Rivets win.
obviously looked at the Rivets score there. They did 49-13. Buccaneers didn't win.
No. Shadows are good.
Yeah, which is going to make us standings look interesting. They're the Giant Hornets one, which we always like to see.
Yep.
Exmouth one, I think. Does that leave them undefeated now?
Yep.
Big win for the massive win.
Massive. So
Titans win.
Yeah, Titans won. Massive one. So looking at the standings, we've got a couple more clinches this week. Oh, we've got one more clinch this week. We've got the Eagles clinching, which I think we called last week.
Yeah, I think they were clinched. Yeah, they were clinched last week, and the Generals were close to clinched, if I remember correctly.
I thought it was the other way round, but I might be wrong.
Yeah, but I know one of Uh,
I can't remember.
Eagles must have pretty much been. I guess it could have, yeah, but one of them was clinched last week because the A was the only one without any teams clinching. But they lost for the LFC West. So the Buccaneers lost, massive one, and now it's anyone's game to some extent. If the Sharks
game
lose
was
this
quite good.
week, whew,
Mm.
Who are the Sharks playing this week? They've got the Buccaneers.
big game.
So if the Buccaneers win, I think they're in the control of their own destiny because of divisional
Yeah.
record.
Yeah, if they win, it becomes impossible for the Massive and the Irish to win the division.
Yes, it becomes impossible for the Massive to win, and the Irish, I
So-
want to say, are out anyway. 3
So
divisional losses, I think, is
it's-
too many.
Essentially, they're both out already because if the Sharks win, they can't catch the Sharks anyway.
Exactly. They're both out. Massive.
Yeah. So it looks more interesting than it is. Titans Bay Packers is still that race is still going on for the PFC West.
Mm.
Titans have been impressive this season.
Mm.
No, we
Not
always
quite
took.
good, though.
They are
No, but-
99 points behind in terms of the first overall seed, though.
So just a 1 game score.
Only if they're playing the Hulk.
I think the
The Rivets won like 96-0 or something, didn't they?
94-7 against the Bulldogs.
There you go.
Yeah.
See, it's only 1 game. Only takes 1 game.
And the Bulldogs actually have gone into administration this week as well.
Yeah. It's a sad state of affairs.
Yeah.
How the Titan? What's the end of the season for the Titans looking like?
Winning, that's what it's looking like.
They have the Bay Packers. That's the main first question. Yes, they
And
do.
then
And Rivets. Whoa. Those
I
are the
think
games
we've
we like to
mentioned
see.
before that week 10's a big game.
Yeah, I mean this week's a big game. Big.
Yeah,
The Big Sky gets interesting in week 10, and the rest of the season's a bit
Because
boring.
if they lose, the Beverly Bay Packers should have the points advantage on them, and they'll have an easier game.
Rivets got the Surfers and the Surfers this week, which
Sharks is a good team, 6-2. Yeah.
it's been marked as a key game, and they're away. It could be an upset there.
I think like that Titans Beverly Bay Packers game is huge this week.
So LFC North is super tight as well.
Yeah, so who's playing in that one?
So you've got the Giant Hornets are playing the Patriots. So the
Ooh.
Giant Hornets playing the Patriots. So the Rushmores must be playing
Rushmores.
the 66ers.
So the Rushmores.
You assume the Rushmores win.
Yeah.
So
And then-
the Giant Hornets are then in control of their destiny a little bit.
Only if they win, right? Because if they lose, their
Yeah.
divisional record is worse than the Rushmores at that
And
point.
then the Hornets have the Irish in the last week, who are 4-4. And then the Rushmores have the Kernel Sharks. Ugh. Yeah.
that one's one of those ones where Hornets win and they look pretty good for at least a wild card, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then but if they lose, they could be out of everything potentially.
0 to
Potentially,
0.
yes.
The LFC's mad. Number 1 and 2 seed are just wide open.
Yeah, I mean the highest record is 6-2. Like we're talking about the Hornets being like potentially losing their
Hornets.
division.
Hornets, Shadow Shark, Hornets, Shadow Sharks. So the points differentials. So the points. Yeah, it's
I mean, there's a lot of points catching up to be done in order for the Hornets to miss out completely, right?
29's definitely catchable into over 2 weeks.
Yeah. I mean, in terms of them missing out
Say
completely,
the Sharks are unlikely to get number 1
uh,
unless they do it on record.
Yeah, I mean they've got tough.
Yeah.
They got Buccaneers this week, which would be tough to help them catch up, I imagine. So,
Yeah.
I'd say that the Shadows. What's the Shadow schedule look like for the last 2 games?
Super Weasels, Sun Devils. So Sun Devils.
Yeah, they should. They should.
They've got the
win both of them.
easier.
And their only 2 losses are the Hornets and the Rivets. So
Yes.
yeah, I fancied the Shadows to take that number 1 seed. I'm gonna call it now.
Okay,
That
then
bold.
looking at the predictions, I went Rivets, Giant Hornets, because why wouldn't I? Who are the only team on this list, Nick, that you put their full name down? Everyone else you put the nickname, but the Swarming Giant Hornets, you went for the whole shebang.
I think the whole thing should be said every time.
Oh, it's like Jurgen Norbert Klopp. You can only ever say his full name. Just a reminder of how awesome the name Norbert is. Nick, you went with the Bay Packers versus
7-1,
the Sharks.
still good.
Yep.
Sharks.
And Simon, you went with the repeat of last year's blowout bowl, the Rivets Buccaneers.
I like this return tour.
Yeah, they've been pretty good the last few weeks.
Until this week, where they had a
malfunction.
Loss. But it was only 3 points. You know, it was the Shadows who do look quite good. So.
Yeah, beat the Shark. If they beat the Sharks, then they look quite good. Obviously, I don't want them to beat the Sharks.
Hey, they beat the Sharks. You know, they might even be able to sneak into number 2 seed.
Yeah, possible. That's crazy.
Crazy talk.
I mean, the thing is, we call this
crazy from a point, a record sort of 7-3 top 2 seed we're looking at here in the LFC.
Actually, the Shadows aren't going to lose, I don't think, which then means the Swarming Giant Hornets need to lose, which is good. Yeah.
I mean, the thing is, we can't get too excited about this. As bear in mind, we're only working out which team get to lose to the Rivets.
Yeah, but whoever loses in the bowl theoretically wins the bowl in the Big Sky.
Yes, that is true. Whoever loses to the Rivets should actually be awarded the win.
I've come to the conclusion I want my prediction to fail because I want the Titans to make the bowl game.
Okay.
I know my prediction can be fine because I've got the Bay Packers. We're all good. Beverly Bay Packers. Just realised.
Okay, anything else for the Big Sky before we move on to the Continental? Okay, Continental.
Ooh, I see a Badgers Highlanders game there.
Ooh, piece of candy.
Whoa.
So apart from the Badgers playing the Highlanders, what jumps out at you, Nick?
Badgers Highlanders game. Destruction Classics. There's a good game there by the looks of it. The Zulus racking up 55 points. Another big win for them. I know their schedule looks a bit easier, but you still got to win those games. Brooklyn Park Bombers losing to the Westies. That looks pretty big. Black Mountain Thunderbird just about scraped over the line against the Bullets as well. Interesting stuff this week.
Yes, take a look at how that's affected the standings. So, a couple more clinches this week. Thunderbirds managed to clinch. Renegades have clinched. Golden State Monarchs have clinched. Badgers are still looking good. UFC East seems fairly.
UFC South. Whoa.
UFC South.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm the third place team and I'm 6-2.
Poor old Gary. He's doing well in this league and he's third place. It's gotta be tough. What are their schedules like?
You're going to get 3 teams from the same division in the playoffs.
Right.
Where the new rule changes do help a hell of a lot.
Yeah.
The question is, will the Hulk be able to score more points than the Westies get wins?
No.
Yeah, I agree with Simon.
Over the next 3 seasons.
No.
So they've got the Banditos and the Thunder. So
Banditos is nice.
Thunders.
Thunder's
Thunder,
nice.
the-
Yeah,
the- yeah.
that's the Westies. So Zulus have Trojans, I assume, and then
Venom.
the Venom, who are top of their division as well, right?
The fake venom.
Yes, and probably need to play as well,
Well, yeah, don't need to play.
unless they're playing the Destruction this week.
Yeah.
They're not. They're playing the Ravens.
Intriguing. So who have the Trojans got as the last game of the season?
Ravens.
The Ravens. Okay. So the Zulus have the worst schedule there, but are a
Yes.
game ahead. But are a game ahead, and quite a few points ahead of the Westies as well, in terms of wild card potential.
Yes. Yeah. But
Because
we
the Spartans are
could,
5 and 3 with a minus 48 points differential.
if they win out and go 8-2, they can come third and still get the wild card because of the changes in the rules.
Yeah, sorry, I was just working out.
Because no other team, no other second place team can go better than 7-3.
Yeah. I mean that UFC South looks pretty strong. I mean the Destructions. Did I say the Destruction lost this week? I mean that's pretty big for them.
The disruption.
They got
Destruction
disrupted.
They lost to the Classics.
It's a classic game. That.
Mm.
Classics look pretty good for their division now. That's a big win for them. Brooklyn Park Bombers disappointed. They took the foot off their gas this week.
Still number 1 seed though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Three
So
7 and 1 team. There's only 2 points in it though. Zulus are only 2 points behind the Brooklyn Park Bombers.
I think the classics might just,
Classics have looked good this season.
yeah, and
There you
how
go.
do they end out the season? Rabid Beavers and the Hangers. So
Hangers not an easy game. Hangers
No.
have racked up a lot of points. Hangers have 333 points this season. That's the most in the league, by the looks of it.
Yes.
That's a lot of points. Or however, they have conceded 276 points.
It's going to be an exciting game.
Yeah.
So looking at the playoff picture,
In
Nick,
fact,
you went with the Thunderbirds Bombers.
It's looking reasonable.
I went with the Monarchs at the Destruction. The Destruction not looking like a good call at the minute.
Self-destructed.
And Simon went with the Thunderbirds at the Destruction.
Did I? Oh, because I just like the name Destruction. Because I'm an idiot.
They're still well in it. So,
Not at the moment.
well,
It's not impossible.
I know they are in a good position. They've got a decent goal difference.
do we have the preview for the... Oh, no. Ignore me.
Preview for what?
I was going to say preview for a game that wasn't happening until the week after or something. So.
I don't have that preview yet.
Exactly. Although, what currently are the Classics the number 1 defense at the moment?
Defense. Do no, they're
Oh,
not.
the number 3.
No, number 4.
Oh, number
Defense.
4. Sorry, yeah.
When you got high numbers on both, that's quite impressive.
Oh, yeah. I was just wondering whether it was the Classics.
High numbers on both is easy. Low numbers on both is hard.
Oh, good point.
So
You know what I mean?
What ranking is the Hangers offense?
73 probably.
I reckon that's going to be a high one because I think they're a deep passing kind of, I'm just going
They've racked up a lot of points, but
type game. It's my kind of gridiron. Yeah.
number 1. So that Hangers number 1 offense potentially against the number 4 defense in the Classics will be.
The problem is that way the Hangers play with deep passing. It's like, does he have 3 good cornerbacks?
They hang it out there,
Yeah.
don't they?
Ridiculously good pass rush. If he has either, then maybe.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
Right.
And I guess the Hangers have to still be in it at that point as well. They might
Yeah.
switch some players around.
Anything else before we move on
Nah,
to the Delta?
give me a D. Give
D
me an E.
E.
Give me an L.
L.
Give me a T.
B.
Give me an A.
A.
What does that spell?
Cheese.
Ah,
Simon, what jumps out to you? What jumped out to you in the Delta this week?
second game down, surely.
Yeah, Lone Stars Cougars. You know, it's a expected win for Aaron, but it was a bit. There's something to it. I don't think there's any more games that I found particularly interesting. If I'm honest.
The Colts only just getting past the Fury surprised me a little bit.
Centurion Sunblazers.
The Fury keep getting better and better and better, and the Cops seem to be getting worse and worse and worse.
True. York Centurion Sunblazers was it was close, but I wouldn't say as unexpected because the Sunblazers are a strong team as are York. Fury, they're in a rebuild, so that's why that one jumped out slightly more.
I guess the thing is with York Sunblazers, York put a bunch of yards on the Sunblazers.
Yeah, it's just big for the Sunblazers division, right? Because if they'd lost that, then Ipswich would be back in it, so to speak.
The main problem is the flopper heads are now winning that division. And nobody likes to see that.
Titans picking up a win surprised me a little bit, even though it was against the Hayes.
The big thing here is that the Enigma have turned it around and have won this week after 2 big losses.
Oh yes, the Enigma are back, baby.
So if we look at the standings, we can see that Frome have clinched, and the Hoff has now clinched because the Robber Barons obviously have a quality quarterback.
Is he in Q? I don't know.
I don't know. I just go off of what you say, Simon, because it seems to wind up Glenn.
No, he's a journeyman. He's not quality.
Flopperheads winning. How do the Flopperheads and the Colts end the season? They are playing each other this week, and then the Copperheads are playing me week 10, which hopefully is going to be an irrelevant game. But oh God, no! How did I suddenly go from just scraping in the playoffs to potentially playing for number 2 seed?
Because you've won some games.
Your side of the league is a bit shit.
Yeah, your division looks not the best right now.
It's not. No, the division's not amazing. There's basically me and the Rogues at the minute. Massacre and Titans are on the way back up, but they've been taking a while.
Your side feels like the Katanas and the Katanas at the moment.
Pretty much, yeah. It's basically either the Katanas win or they get injured so much that they lose to someone.
Yeah, but on the other side, you got the Lone Stars, you got the Cougars, you got the Warriors.
Well, the big news is the Enigma are back on the Venom's tail for that
thing
wild card
is,
spot.
Simon, you can't say you've got the Warriors in the GFC because the players have played for every other team. So it's kind of an all-star team. It's basically a Pro Bowl team.
Yeah, that's what Jonathan goes for.
Yeah.
He's king of the Pro Bowl, just in regular season.
Yeah.
I'm clinching my division. Don't need no wildcards.
What's the Venom and Enigma schedules like?
I've got the Cyclones next week.
And then the Plague, which I think is more. It's not guaranteed by. And who? Sorry, the Enigma.
Yeah, classic.
I have no idea what their schedule is.
I have no idea how they'll go in these 2 games.
Warriors it's basically a fight between us 2 for the last. Although if I manage to beat the Cyclones, then I knock the Cyclones into the battle.
Yeah.
It's like
it was just
interesting. Well, I can beat the Cyclones and lose in week 10 theoretically, and then get knocked off. It's quite interesting.
Yeah. Mind you, the Enigma beat the Venom this season, so
they gave me a good chicken.
Weird one.
Yeah. Interesting.
Playoff picture's a bit interesting. So, Nick, you chose the Cougs at the Patriots. Which
it's just about on.
Still on.
Go on, Holly.
Yeah.
Patriots are a game ahead in the wildcard spot, so.
Yeah. I went with the Lone Stars at the Katanas because I'm boring. No,
Well,
because I'm a realist.
No, you're boring. You've picked every top two seeds, and that's what's happened. Stop doing your predictions. Everything comes true. You need to predict something that more interesting.
Hey, I didn't predict the top two in every single league. Monarchs and Destruction. Come on, Destruction's on top.
True. They've
Avalanche
self-destructed.
and Rapiers. Rapiers on top of them. I can't.
nor the Avalanche, you know.
Yeah, so I just in the GFL picked the Black Knights at the Quake. And Simon, you picked the Cougs at the Katanas.
Yeah, because Aaron's going to get hassled by the Hoff.
He's going to get
Longer
injured
than
as
the
he,
Hoff.
or is the Hoff just lulling him into a false sense of security? He's gone, oh, I'm all right with second seed. I play better away from home. I'm going to beat him on the road in the conference championship game.
Or win when it matters, right?
Exactly. It's all about winning when it matters.
Yeah. No, I like it. I like it.
He's a playoff specialist. Is Mr. Hoffman.
Definitely. Right. Anything else before we move on to the Empire? Okay. On to the Empire. Nick, as you are the resident expert on the Empire, what jumps out at you here?
Well, the first one was Jacksonville High Hunters losing to North Wales Jaguars. That's a big result because it's Jaguars as well who are back up there doing the business. Russians with a huge win this week keeps them in the playoff picture. Red Bulls were run pretty close this week, which we haven't really seen recently. Thunder and Herd lost, outrageous. Lions get another good win, another shutout, and yeah, they're the main games. District 12 Stormers still winning away, picking up another win there. Kings Rough Rangers. Kings have won a tough game as well. So
yeah, so looking at the stand-ins,
I'd say the High Hunters deserve to lose because they kept Pat on the bench recovering.
they're not the High Hunters.
Low Hunters.
I mean, it depends. They just haven't been caught on the. They just haven't been caught whilst smoking weed yet. So not many clinches here in the BFC, 0 at all, and then 2 in the PFC. So Storm have clinched that, which means the R cubed can't win the division, but they can still make the playoffs potentially.
Second wildcard spot at the moment.
Yes, second wildcard after the Rarotonga Rogues. Thunder and Herd looking good to clinch, to be honest.
Yeah, they've got enough there to
2 games ahead and 2 divisional games ahead. Yeah, I'm gonna say it's all but mathematical.
Yeah, the Jaguars win is huge though because it's flipped Jacksonville and North Wales in terms of seedings. So you've got Red Bulls and Jaguars in the top 2 seeds at the moment. Jacksonville should still win their division, I'd imagine. BFC West looks pretty interesting. Russians are still keeping in there, and they have the divisional record. Gorillas have been fairly quiet, but they're on a 6-2 record. Fairly quiet from our perspective, anyway. Maybe we just haven't looked to their games, but
so they've got the Russians, have got the Lions and the Templars to end out.
Yeah, the Lions is a big game. That's the big game. Templars are bottom of the North at the moment. And that Lions Russians game should be good.
So Gorillas
have a tough end of the season. Red Bulls, and then Jacksonville High Hunters.
I think that the Gorillas, they've had some solid wins against other opponents, but their losses have come against big teams, which I think is why we probably haven't come across them as much.
Yeah, so you probably expect them to be 6-4. Where does that leave them? Do they look there or thereabouts, I guess?
Should be okay.
Let's have a look at the playoff picture. 6-4 looks okay. It's got potential.
Depends
So-
on how badly they get beaten, I guess. It's trying to keep that points differential up.
Yeah. Do the High Hunters have to play the Patriots? Is that
We have a whole new window for them. No, they're playing the
no? They're
Claymores.
Claymores
And then the Gorillas.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
The question is, does that Week 10 game mean anything to Jacksonville?
At the moment, yes, it does. It depends on the Patriots because Patriots only a game back. But I don't know what the divisional record looks like. It depends on scores this week, I guess.
The Patriots do have the blue moon, followed by the Griffins, which should be 2.
Yeah,
Should be 2 wins, yeah.
you
So they're
expect them to
probably
be 7
playing.
and 3.
And the Griffins should be a very comfortable win, at which point Patriots might have a pretty decent points differential.
Yeah. So how do the
Probably
tie?
guarantees.
I guess how does Randy look?
Skogmeister General.
Jaguars,
Jaguars.
tough
and, then
game.
and then he's playing Zane.
The Wranglers
I think that's Zane's team. Yeah, it is.
Even Zane in the membrane.
running it back.
Retro. Let's go full GFLA old school teams.
So it should be. It'll be close on 6 and 4 still, based on
Yeah.
the schedules there. Because one of
Yeah,
the Lions
6
and
and 4
Russians,
is not a given.
yeah.
Somebody's going to sneak in with 6 and 4.
It looks that way.
Oh, I think you're going to get 1, 6 and 4. It's just which one?
Yeah. The other side of things, I mean, King's Storm, Bounty, Thundering Herd, Rogues. So then it's just like R cubed going to make it. How did R cubed finish the season?
So R cubed and R squared kind of going up. What does that extra R count for?
Storm,
Oh,
huge game.
Yeah.
And then Monarchs.
So Monarchs should be a win.
Should be a win.
But so then we're looking at Hornets and the Rockall Knights as potential options.
Fair. Yeah.
They
Bounty
play-
Kings. Oof.
Yeah, that's a fun end to a season, isn't
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
I think the Rarotonga Roads can end up 8 and 2 and be in
Being the wild card spot.
wild card, which is just
Yeah.
painful.
Yeah. So who's that? That's the
That's the Hornets.
Hornets. Okay.
Gamblers Herd.
Doesn't look too bad.
Herd's the
Herd
harder
can-
game. That
Yeah, Herd might be able to just rest up that last game of the season.
Rarotonga playing the Hurricanes, followed by the Jets. Hurricane should be a win, and the
Jets
Jets
should
should
be.
be a win. Yeah, so they should
Yeah,
be going
they should.
8 and 2.
They should be fine.
Thing is,
Uh,
though, I think if they win one, they've got a rest week. Theoretically,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
the difference between 7 and 2 and 8 and 2 means nothing.
It just depends
Right.
on how what the
Depends on if the
divisional
Lone
records-
Stars can turn over the Kings or not.
The divisional record is too
Oh
much
yeah,
to
sorry,
overcome.
they're 2 behind.
So with the PFC with the Rangers and the Hornets, so the Hornets could potentially have a. Oh no, the Hornets have the. Do they have the Storm? Is that right?
I thought the Rough Rangers had
Or
the
am I-
Storm. Yeah, I've got the Gamblers and the,
The
Herd.
Gamblers,
They've got
okay.
they've got the easier record, the easier games.
So if that's the case, it will come down to divisional record as to who finishes second, isn't it? And therefore,
Yeah.
that decides the wild card spot if it's between those two,
Mhm.
which is interesting because it's not going the points wouldn't matter at that point
Hmm.
if it's between those two. Is that how that works?
Yeah, because it will go divisional placing first for the wild card. It's only when divisional placing is key is first, and then if that's the same, it then moves. So it's record, divisional placing, then points
Unless
differential.
number 5 is from your division.
Is it?
Yeah, because they changed the rules so that now you can get both wildcards from the same division.
Yes,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I thought you still had to have the same. but we're talking about inside the PFC. If they both finish,
Oh, inside the actual. I thought you were talking about can they both?
no, inside first.
Oh, sorry, I'm being an idiot. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, because we're saying that basically one of them slots is going to the Rarotonga Rogues, who are going to be on a better win-loss ratio.
So then it could come down to if the Hornets, let's say the Hornets if it comes down to record and the Hornets have a better record, for example, and they go above, so they finish second, but on the same record as the Rangers, and then the Rockall Knights also finish on the same record, then the Hornets points difference gets compared against the Rockall Knights points
Correct.
difference.
Yes.
And the Rough Rangers could have the best points difference out of the three of them.
Yeah.
Correct. Yes.
I think you can lock it in now. It's the Kings, the Storm, the Bounty, and the Herd, followed by the Rough Rangers and the Rogues. The games they've got are too easy.
Who the Rough Rangers got? Sorry.
Storm. That's the thing. They've got the Storm, and then the Monarchs.
Yeah, and they lose a game, then they win the last one, 6-4. No one can beat that.
Yeah. So they go 6-4.
But their record would be
and
2
they
and
go
3, right?
and they go 2 and 3.
Whereas
the Hornets
would
win
three
both
and
their
2.
games, go 6-4, but go 3 and 2.
And
so they take second place in the division.
I just can't see them beating the Thundering Herd.
Thundering Herd might well
True.
have a week off. It all comes down to whether they have a week off in the last week, right?
Because
they
if
can't
the
make
Bounty and the
higher
Kings
seed.
win,
No.
if the Bounty and the Kings win, what's the difference between third and fourth seed? If you're not playing for second seed, if you're not playing for first or second seed, what's the point?
That's true.
Yeah. So it could be a very interesting little wild card chance there.
Yeah, Boise can't make it at all. And I've been looking for a reason to say Boise for a while because I love the word.
Boise.
And
what if they all lose out?
Doesn't that mean the Knights could?
So you couldn't the Rangers, Hornets, and Knights all lose both their end game?
Mm-hmm.
And then the Texas Lone Stars and Boise Power could end up on 5 and 5 as well.
True.
And then it's one big mess.
That has to be the greatest named team I've seen for a long time.
Seems unlikely.
Boise Power.
Boise State, the actual university, I assume it's named after, or town it's named after, are famous for playing on a blue pitch.
Top quality.
Nice.
Need more names like that.
They actually got a rules change brought into the college football in the States to stop any teams building any other pitches that are any colour other than green. Honestly, it looks horrible.
It sounds beautiful in my mind.
I mean, I'll find you a photo of it. Boise State field.
Oh,
yeah,
that's beautiful.
Blue and orange.
However, it does look like a tennis court.
The US Open.
And they play in blues. You basically can't see the bloody players on it.
Mind you, I quite like that orange pitch right there, where the players really don't stand out at all.
Well, they don't stand out on the blue field either. All these photos have Boise State players standing on the field, except for that one. Oh, yeah.
Love it.
But anyway, let's go back into the fantasy world instead.
Yeah.
So it's some interesting things can happen here.
Yeah.
So looking at the playoff picture.
Actually, the wild card picture looks like pretty insane on both sides then. If we're talking 6 and 4 potentials on the BFC side of things, and could come down to divisional / points records in the PFC side of things. I mean, I know the top seeds look fairly locked. You've got the Lions Russians for their division. Other than that, we're probably saying what the others, not necessarily locked, but the Rogues and Kings are locked for playoffs. So you've got those 5 on that side, and you've got the top 3 on the BFC side of things. Then you've got Lions or Russians, and then that Gorillas, Patriots, Tigers battle for 6 and 4 or 7 and 3 or whatever we're looking at over there.
Oh my.
So
So-
So what we're saying is the Empire is bringing another barnstorming end to the season.
Question is, who did everyone choose?
The
So
real
Nick,
question is, will we see Postman Pat next week?
Hunters versus Storm.
Well, I had to choose Jacksonville High. They've got Postman Pat. Been told he always delivers.
Unless he's on the bench.
Yeah.
I went Red Bulls Romford Rough Rangers,
Oh,
and I'm looking potentially like the Rough Rangers might not make the playoffs. So
Yeah.
all comes down to the game against the Storm.
yeah.
And then Simon, you went with the Jaguars versus the Storm.
Jaguars.
Jaguars are looking good. Jaguars Red Bulls will be. That'd be quite the conference game, to be fair, right now.
Yeah.
That's what the fans want to see.
Anything else from the Empire gents?
Fear the bounty.
Fear the bounty. Okay. Anything else at all before we bring this to a close?
Have a great Christmas, people, because we have a week off.
Do we? Sweet.
Yeah.
I was probably going to try and get my orders in for Friday.
Oh,
We're
saved you.
expecting them to run the games over Christmas Eve and Christmas Day.
Mainly because the other game that Rich Egan runs is running orders on Boxing Day. So yes.
That's because he loves that game more than Gridiron.
Well, Gridiron's going to get brought in the new year with the
he does.
I know.
The next week's games are going to run into New Year's Day, and we're going to have half the games in one year and half the games in the next year.
Strong.
Because Bob's going to break because the Hulk win.
Bob just won't turn up.
Yeah. Okay. It's goodbye from me.
Goodbye from me.
Goodbye from Bobbity Dop Dop.